So I am going to record this just because a lot of people couldn't be here. So still waiting for it to turn the exact time. So with a show of hands, could you guys tell me if you're head instructors or assistants? That's going to kind of help me know. So just first, let's do if you are a head instructor. So it's mostly head instructors. And how about assistants? It's a lot of assistants too. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. So let's start because it is exactly on time. And I've never done a Zoom call in my bathroom before. I'm laughing because my shower is behind me. It's hysterical, but I have 12 kids out here from Colorado tonight at my house. They're going swimming, and they are all kids that are in the Windsor Just for Kicks program. And they came all the way, they flew to Minnesota to go to the intensive. And so they had nothing to do tonight. So I said, oh, come out and go swimming. So they're out and around. So I'm hiding out in my bathroom so that we don't get interrupted. So, and hopefully we'll go really fast here because I know you're all busy. And the first thing I want to say is thank you for sharing your talents and passion with our dancers. It's because of people like you that kids will get a great experience. So we want to thank you for doing all you can do to make the kids have a great year. And after the year they had last year, it is going to be so fun for them to be hopefully back in person, hopefully no masks. We don't know if that's going to happen or not right now. It's kind of iffy, but we will try. So here's some things I'm just going to start going through. And if you have a question at any point, if anybody for me, I don't have anyone helping me tonight. So if some of you guys would watch the chat, and if anybody's bold enough to like pipe in and say, oh, there's a question in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. That will help me a lot because I won't be able to keep watching the chat. So first off, here's some just things that are so important about being a great head instructor or a great assistant. So realize that you're the face of our program. And I always ask people to think about how much every minute costs these kids in dance. And you want to make every minute count. You want to use every minute of the time. So when they are done, they are, they have gotten a full hour or half hour or 45 minutes, whatever their class is. It's really important to be on time and always be the earliest one there. I always find personally, if I am late, I have not a good night. If I am early, I have a better night because then I can kind of be ready. I can be on a roll. If I'm rushing in for whatever reason, I don't have as great a night. So just remember to be on time. Everybody mute yourself until you want to talk. If you would do that, that'd be great. Okay, next is anything that comes out of your mouth can be very positive. So I want you to think about how you word things. Never yelling. Sometimes the key is to get quieter when you're talking, is to try to soften your voice and go up to a child and make it more fun by how you say what you say. How I would say things positively, instead of saying it's the wrong leg or you're kicking the wrong leg, you could say, oh, it's the other leg. Let me show you how to do that. Let me show you, or we've got to fix this is a great way. If you put yourself in on it, we can fix it. You're going to give corrections in a way that kids are having an easier time taking it. So everything that comes out of your mouth, positive. Assistants, if you are assisting a head instructor, it's your job to get the class rolling. If she's detained answering a parent or getting interrupted helping someone. So remember that you've got to be very perceptive and ready to go. I would spend time ahead of time with your head instructor or your director to find out what she wants you to do. And I love my assistants to run my music. I love them to be a step ahead of everything I'm doing, like almost be able to read my mind. After you have taught with someone for a while, you can do that. You will get better at it. You start reading her mind. Something to think about after your first couple times is ask, if you're an assistant, ask the head instructor, is there anything I can improve on? Is there anything you want to see me do better? If you ask for it, you will actually become a better teacher because then they may say something they wouldn't have said otherwise. So think about doing that. Head instructors, you could ask your director, is there anything I need to do better? And I'm going to keep head instructors on longer than assistants, but we will just go through things. So warm-ups are something assistants could do. Making sure, like my assistants put my name tags outside my room for my little kids. If we have props, they have everything lined up. They're just a step ahead. Another big important thing for both is keep the class under control. As soon as the class gets out of control, it's very hard to reel them back in. So moving quickly is important to try to keep them under control. How you keep control of the class is your tone of voice can help you. Some people are too soft, some people are too loud. Learn what works for you. So you can command attention by how you say things. So the better you know the dance, the better in control your class is going to be. For me, my hardest to remember dances are always the preschool ones because they're so similar all the time. One suggestion would be to really use the words of the song because they retain it better. Know that every child learns differently. Some kids learn to music. I would say most of them need that music. And for me, it's very boring if a teacher is saying it's 1, 2, 3, 4, no way. Like with little kids, like for instance, preschool, I would be going, there she was, just a walking down the street, singing, do it. You know, you say it to the words, they're going to remember it way better than if I go, it's 1, 2, 3. You know, do you see what I'm saying? So kind of, if you can sing, sing, because it really makes class more entertaining. And the better you know that song, the better it goes. Something that I've done to help myself, if I don't think I know a song real well or a dance, I make a big chart on a piece of, I always save the back of anything like tag board, and I use black Sharpie and I write really big and I put it behind the kids. So I never have to take my eyes off the kids. Then they can see what I'm saying. So think about doing that. You become a better coach or teacher when you realize it's about the kids and not you. I'm going to say that again. You become a way better teacher when you focus all on the kids and you remember it's about them. It's not about you. Because the more you focus on them, you let go of your ego and you become a way better teacher. So be proactive and perceptive. The other thing assistants can do, remind your head instructor of things that she needs to remember because she's got a lot on her mind. So it'd be like, oh, we got to pass those notes out at the end. We've got to do stickers and like sometimes I write things down on a paper so that at the end we remember to tell them. I love it if my assistants remember the calendars, the handouts, because typically that's the stuff that gets forgotten and the kids are out the door and you're like, oh, dang, I forgot to pass out the calendars. So help her remember that. Never play favorites with kids. And if you get them goofing off, it's very hard to get them back under control. So you kind of have to keep that line of everybody is equal. And something to think about are the kids who seem, okay, the kids who you may not notice might be the ones who need you to notice them. You might be the bright spot in their week that's making it so much better. So notice everybody. Things you can do to notice everybody: thumbs up, little quiet clapping, eyebrows, winks, just anything positive that you can do will help that child feel better. So think about noticing the kids that need it the most, and you might be that bright spot for them. I always say what gets praised gets repeated. So praise, praise, praise. It's going to help you. Like if you say, oh, wow, look how tight so-and-so is being, well, pretty soon she's going to try. And then the two kids next to her will try too. So think about really praising the great behavior rather than here's some things not to do. Quit hanging on the ballet bars. Quit hanging on the ballet bars. Susie, come line up over here. Come line up. Don't do that. Don't do that. Those are all bad things to do. Instead, you've got to do what's called redirecting their behavior. You want to go, oh, look how Emma is lined up on her X. Oh, look how she's sitting crisscross applesauce. Every little kid wants your attention, either negative or positive. So make sure you're giving the positive attention. So one thing to think about with assistants is if you can't be there, or head instructors, if you can't be there, you find a replacement well in advance for yourself, because you're vital to that organization of that class. So really make sure that you are really committed and show up. You got to show up. You got to be all in. So we talked about favoritism. Try not to notice just the stars and praising just the high level kids. Praise everyone. Really be aware of the back row. Move around. Be in the front, be in the back, be on the side. You don't need to be doing just what the head instructor is doing. You need to be in a different place than her because she's already doing that. So in head instructors, you need to encourage your assistants to move around so that every kid in the room gets noticed. Sometimes if I have wild kids in a class, I put the assistants right in front of them so that they feel one-on-one with those kids. I would also suggest the first 3 weeks of class, meet after class to talk about what you can do better and open that communication. Like, what can I do better as a head instructor? What can I do better as an assistant? And that's going to help you. Before you go to a show, ask your head instructor or your director if she wants you at that. Like, say it's a competition. I'll use myself for an example. I think in our studio in Brainerd, we have 4 studios going from 3 o'clock till 9 o'clock every night. So I have a lot of assistants and a lot of head instructors. If I get to a competition, I literally can't afford that much payroll. So I will ask certain people to go and maybe help with each class. So just make sure you communicate. Do you need me or do you not need me? That will be helpful for you as well. And if you are needed for something, make sure you mark it off on your calendar so that she can count on you. So, okay, so now I'm just going to go back to, I'm going to mention, think of how you dress in class. We just had something happen at intensive that one of our teachers' names is Sierra Meyerberg. She's just fabulous. And one of our now teachers said, that Sierra is one of our older teachers now. And one of the new teachers said, oh, I remember when you taught, I went home from camp and got my hair cut just like you. I wanted to be just like you. And I want you to think about that with the kids that you are teaching now. They are going to look up to you, good or bad. So what kind of a role model are you setting for those dancers? And I always like to say to my assistants, is everything you're doing, are all the actions of yourself, are they such that you'd want to see them in one of your students? Like your language, your facial expressions, your body language, what you're doing out of class. And speaking of that, if they're following you on TikTok or on Insta, your page, Snapchat, you better be, squeaky clean, or don't have kids following you, because that is a really not a good situation when you're mentoring kids. It's very important. Other things to remember, that if there's any concern over a student, make sure you make your director aware of that. This is where you need to take notes, and you can't 5 weeks later go, oh yeah, I was going to tell you that child had lice or something. I am making that up, but I mean, it's anything. You got to make concerns really apparent to your director so they can deal with them and help with them. So now let's talk little kids a little bit. So notice scared and left out kids. When working with the really young, be perceptive of potty breaks. If someone says they have to potty, believe them. Been there, done that, don't want to do it again. Also, I always tell them to go to the bathroom before they come to class, and I remind them like 15 minutes early, has everybody gone potty? Because if one kid goes, they all go. If one kid takes their name tag off and sticks it on their forehead, they all do that. So everything with the little kids is contagious, good behavior and bad behavior. If you're an assistant, remember if you're the last class of the night, remember to clean up the room, leave everything better than you found it. One of the coaches I work with here in Brainerd, he's a girls hockey coach. His saying is sweep the room. When you leave a room, you leave it better than you found it. That's something valuable to teach your kids as well. Also remember, no phone use during class. Even if you're like looking for something, teachers or parents might think you're on your phone. So if you have to use your phone for music or to find a dance routine, I would walk out and tell the parents, just so you know, I'm using my phone for the music. I'm not texting my friends. Because sometimes you might be writing a note for something you want to remember for next week. In class, I feel it would be better to write it because parents will perceive that. And speaking of parents, especially head instructors, learn to communicate with parents. Learn to be bold enough to walk out there and go, hi, my name is, Ashlyn, and I am your head instructor. Here's my cell phone number. Here's my email, and I'm happy to help you in any way I can. So please feel free to contact me. And my goal is to make class a great experience. And here's what I always tell parents. I would rather know something so I can fix it and make it better than to have you be talking about it and not know. So if you open that door, maybe they will help. Everybody that's an assistant should be prepared to take over class in an emergency if something so the head instructor can't come. You need to have the music on your phone. You need to know the dances. If she has a write-up of the dance, take a picture of it so you have that. And I know what helps me with all these different dances, if I have so many in my head, is to sometimes just play them in my car when I'm safely driving. I don't mean dance in your car while you're driving, but you could listen to it and it just helps you remember it. I also love to take a video of the dance because I'm a real music person. So like, rather than look at the sheet, I would rather watch the dance and I'll be like, oh yeah, now I'm ready for the day. Like if I teach on Wednesday preschool and then I don't teach it till the next Wednesday, I've got to watch it again so that I'm prepared for the class. So being prepared is very, very important. So other things, make sure you're filling out your timesheets or your ADP, it's called. And if you don't know how to use ADP, ask your director. And it's acceptable to punch in 15 minutes before class. And if you stay late to help, you can do that also. But most of the time you try to get right out of there. But if you, for some reason, don't get paid, it's because your director maybe didn't turn it in. We are very like clockwork with payments with our office. So make sure that you're turning in it on time. If you don't hit the deadline that it's supposed to be in, it won't get in till the next pay period. And any directors on here, you could correct me because I never do this, but does ADP automatically, you don't have to deal with it anymore as a director? Does it automatically do it for you? If any directors want to answer, that'd be super. Since I don't know that. Something else to think about, if the parent asks you a question, find out the answer, don't make one up. And I know that sounds funny, but we've had that happen. So it's okay to say, oh, I don't know, but I'll find out. So go find out. And something else to think about is the way you demonstrate moves is the way kids will do them. So think about your proper form on everything. And I do feel you become a better dancer when you become a teacher, because you become very aware of, oh, are my feet exactly together? Are my shoulders back? Are my hands in the proper position? So that's something too, to be full out, tight, and correctly positioned. Like if you're supposed to be in a T, I just hit my shower. If you're supposed to be in a T, you're not like hanging down here, but you're level, or you're not way up here. You're supposed to be here, you're not in a V, you're straight up. So, I mean, I think all that stuff matters, how you demonstrate. So I think that's about all I have for assistance. And I'm trying to think, any questions that you guys have for me, or any directors on that want to say anything else? I have a couple things I found here. Watch moodiness and crabbiness. You have to be a professional. If Beyonce was on stage and she was crabby and you paid to go see her, it would not be fun, right? So people are paying to go see you. So you have to be on. I just got done with 3 weeks straight of camp. And I think I taught about 4 classes a day. And you can't have a bad day. It's all got to be a good day. And so try to come in with that mood And I bet, I tell you what, usually 9 times out of 10, if you go in kind of in a bad mood and you fake it, you end up feeling way better. So I'm just trying to think what else. Provide correction and feedback. And if your director's talking or your head instructor, you can visually like just show them without saying anything. You want the full attention on whoever's speaking. But you still need to, I had one parent go, gosh, my child's been turning the wrong direction on that pivot all year and no one corrected her. Well, you got to correct kids. You got to fix everything. I also love my directors and especially head instructors to be very picky and detailed when they're teaching and expect cleanness and expect excellence. I really feel kids want to be excellent. They want to be pushed and they want to be good. I just had a kid move to our town and she moved from another town and I said, well, how are you liking it? And she's like, we work way harder here than we did in my old program, but I love it. I love working hard. I love it. So kids want to be good. They want to be pushed. They don't want to be lazy. Also remember that don't let how do I say it? The whiny kids that overtake the class, don't let that happen. You're in charge of the class. This is more for head instructors, but kids will behave the way you allow them to behave. So don't be a doormat, stand up and be firm and have high expectations and kids will rise up to it. I always tell my dancers, your mom lied to you. There is a such thing as a dumb question and you're not allowed to ask it at my practice. So if you can't figure something out and you watched us 3 times through, then you may ask a question. But do we all have those kids in our classes that just try to ask a question to stop the flow? I mean, can you all think of somebody that does that? That's what you don't want to have happen. You don't want to have the weak kids dominating the class. So think about that. Any questions for me? That's about all I have for assistants. So assistants, is there a chat? Let me just see. There's one question in the chat. Oh, Molly said we still have to approve the ADP hours. So you turn your hours in and the head instructor has to, or the director has to approve them. So we have some directors that don't get their stuff turned in on time, I hate to say. So just know that you might have to bug your director rather than the home office. I mean, you can ask us and then we can absolutely follow up on it. So anybody on here, directors, think of anything I missed with assistants? Otherwise, I'm going to just let the assistants sign up. I do have one thing I want to say. Assistants and head instructors, we really would love you to sometimes think of a career with Just for Kicks. And we just had a situation in one of our towns where the head director quit and one of the head instructors just stepped right into the role. And it's a great job for her. So be learning all the time, be serious about your job and know that it could have a future for you somehow if you choose to do it. And maybe you go to college in another town. Right now I have, from my team, my Just for Kicks in Brainerd, I have kids in St. Cloud that are teaching. I have kids in Moorhead who are teaching. I have kids down in Mankato that are driving to Owatonna to teach. Some are driving to St. James. So you could get a job in college that would help get you connected with people there. It kind of eases that transition of going to college. So just think about that. You might want to you're mentoring right now under your director and learn all you can learn to become the best version of yourself as a teacher, and it will help take you farther. I also want to invite you next summer. We just got done with intensive, and I just feel the kids that went really benefited from it, and we would love to have some of you guys come learn. All right, that is about it for assistants. And then I want to just open it up. Assistants, you can go off if you want, and I'm just going to keep talking to head instructors. So the one thing I'd say to head instructors is think of the time outside of class as saving you a lot of time during class. It's really going to help you. So 5 minutes of organization here and there will really help you. what helps a lot of people is to schedule that time. Like say you teach on Tuesdays, maybe Tuesday night when you get home, you'd be better to put an hour in of working and getting everything ready. So the next week you're ready and you don't have that stress hanging over you all week that you're not ready. Because it kind of weighs on you when you know you have to finish, like I'll even go, oh, this didn't work, this choreography. So I write it down. So when I get home, I can remember to fix it. Or 9 times out of 10, you'll get to class and go, oh yeah, that choreography didn't work, So it's better if you write yourself notes and then you deal with them right away. Then all week you don't have it hanging over you. And that's probably one of my best advices. The other thing is, just have a plan. Like I always have too much on my list of what I do. Like we have different things on the series that are in the library that your director can get for you, but we have how to fill the hour and we have lesson plans by the 5-minute increments. So what I try to do is fill in as much as I can and have extra so that if kids get bored, I have more to go to. And you're going to be the best teacher when you don't have to think about, okay, what should we do next? Because you've got it all ready. And then don't be afraid, like, especially like with 3rd grade and under, or even 4th and 5th, like if I taught spotting and I was working on spotting drills at the beginning of class, I could go, like, say we were 15, 20 minutes in and they were starting to get glossy on something else. Like we did the drills right away. You can do them again 20 minutes later, the same drills. But if you try to do them all in a row for 10 minutes, the kids are going to get bored. So think about, sometimes if you do a 15 minutes and repeat the 15 minutes, it will help you. But depending on which age group I could break down each age group and talk for about an hour on each one, but we won't. But know that it's very different what age group you're doing. Like preschool, you got to be moving. You stop, you're done. K first, you got to have a lot to keep them going. That's where I really rely on assistance, and safety has to be something at the top of your concern all the time. Be safe with, is the area clear of all obstructions? Like even a pair of shoes can break an ankle. So if kids flip their shoes off to try the splits, you better move them to the side. So I'm always looking and thinking about what could potentially be dangerous. Is it, we want to keep our kids safe. So just have a plan, but be wise enough to deviate from the plan. Watch your kids, know your kids. Like when their eyes, like especially preschool, when their eyes start to gloss, they just gloss over. You can tell they're not listening to you. Don't keep doing the same thing. That's when you need to move. So break it up between drills, learning the choreography. I always teach choreography the beginning of the hour because that's when they're freshest, and do the fun stuff at the end, drill downs at the end, or let's try our toe touches, or let's try this, but just have lists of everything you can do. In the library, we have what's called power hour list, and it has like, this would be for older kids. It has cardio, abs, drills. It might have strengthening, different things. And you can kind of mix and match from that. There's a whole list of abs so that you would have stuff to do from that list. And it helps you mix and match and make the class very exciting. So having a plan, I'm just trying to look here, really set clear expectations. If you're a new teacher, they will try to push your buttons. So you have to find that line between firm, friendly, and fun, and I always tell my dancers, I hope if I've coached you long enough, you grow to have love for me. But if I had to choose love or respect, I would choose respect, because they need to look up to you and respect. The younger you are, the harder it is. I was there before too. So you have to like create the parameter of what you allow in your class, and you will gain their respect by being organized and by taking them as far as they can go. So if you think about that, are you a teacher that can take them farther than another teacher? And I constantly try to improve, even at how long I've been doing this. I constantly am learning. Like I was at camp 3 weeks in a row, and I had one coach go, "Do you sit through all these coaches classes?" And I said, Actually, I do, because like, for instance, there was a doctor there teaching all anatomy and different things that I said, I could sit through this 3 times to try to retain it. But the more you can learn, the better, and you'll be the best teacher. We have so much stuff on the website and in the library and in digital dance, and you get to do all that free. So the more time you spend learning things, then you've got your list. Oh, and you can rotate it through. Like, so if you did this one on the first week of the month, you did this one on the second week, this one on the third, and this one on the fourth, then go back to the first week again. It's all new to them. We're also going to be doing a specific preschool training that will be totally everything. And we also had a video of it. So if you want to watch that, your director could share that video of preschool classes, because we just did one lately that we sent them. Something else that might help you is have someone analyze you when they're watching you. Maybe set a video camera up and watch yourself. You will find out if what you're doing that possibly could be annoying to your students. And if you want to grow and get better, you will grow and get better. It will help you. So I talked about know your routines, speed of teaching. I know one thing, I just took a class at the last camp. I did the coaches dance, most embarrassing moment of my life. But anyway, the way she taught, I need to do it more and more times in a row. So like if we learned an 8 count, like 5, 6, let's do it again. Go 1, 2, 3. I'd like to do it slow. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, let's do it faster. Go 2. You don't have to stop in between. You could drill that measure 5 times and your kids would retain it. And that's your goal, is to get them to retain it, and then tack on the next measure, and then tack on the next measure, and then put 3 together over and over in a row. Repetition is what's going to get them to know it really well. And now I'm not talking preschool, I'm talking older, harder routines. But you need to be a master of cueing routines. I feel like that's something that is a learned behavior, like a learned technique or a skill to be able to cue your dancers. So if you're like, say I was teaching a really hard kick routine, I'd be like, it's arms, 2, 3, 4, next, it's the kick line, go, it's 1, 2, 3, and then at the end go next, we go to the box. So you're leading them to the next thing. And by knowing your dance really well, you can lead them to the next thing. You also, the way you count, like for instance, if we were doing a 2 count contagion, I'd be like, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And if a single counts, I'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, words help you too. So if you go like, I'm trying to think of an example. I know one of our teachers used to always like, he always came up with words that matched the thing, but he would sing little, she's my fellow dressed in yellow. That was his style. And he'd have words, come say hello, and kids would know what he was talking about. But for me, sometimes I'll be like, okay, say I was teaching It's My Party. I'd be like, it's my party and I'll kick. I would say like what I was trying to get him to do, but sing part of it. That's going to help with retention. So the quicker you can get kids to learn is important. Something I do for my parents, I video class every night with the routine from the back, not the front, from the dancer's vantage point, and then post it in band, and they will practice at home. Then they have the music, and then you know they've got it, and they will practice. And I found out that all of our teachers were doing that except for one. Well, guess which teacher got the worst reviews? The teacher that didn't ever post the videos. So one of the most important things as a teacher is to care. If you don't care, you really probably shouldn't be doing it. So things to do for getting your kids better is half sides, and tell them, go get your phones. We're going to film half sides, or bring in your phones today. So each kid has a partner, and the partner films just the partner. And sometimes they can give feedback in a positive way to one another, but then they can watch it that night and they have themselves on film, and that helps them get better. So if you teach things right, like very tight and very precise, and where the heads go, like if you teach it wrong and have to go back and clean it, it's very hard. I think that you want them to learn it right. Notice your kids maybe have ways that you can pick out, like on your attendance sheet, go, I'm going to email 4 kids a week and just randomly do that to the parents to appreciate them. If the kid ever does anything better, and always reward improvement, not just reward progress, not just excellence, but progress. Reward if someone's trying hard. These are the important things. So when you demonstrate and you're teaching, think about being very descriptive, almost so that you could shut your eyes and see what the teacher's doing. Okay, it's the right arm, you're looking right, your left foot is in a point to the side. You know, be descriptive with how you do it. And again, be tight with how you do it. So you can sometimes ask, am I going too fast? Are you getting this? But sometimes then you're opening the floodgates. Never say, do you want to do it again? Do you care? They're going to do it again. Don't ask them. It's not their choice. It's your choice as the teacher. So let's do it again is way better than, do you want to do it again? I guarantee you, everybody learns that the hard way, and then you don't do it again. So think about height lines ahead of time if you have to do formations, or think about who you want in the front row ahead of time. If you do that in your town, you have to be very conscious of not playing favorites, but you also have to, like if you're competing, I would put your strongest kids in the front. That's okay. But you have to, you know, maybe take turns a little bit. Don't always have the same kid do the solo, vary it a little bit, but you do still have to, if you're competing, get the best kids in the front. So thinking about that, stress basics all the time and stress energy level all the time. You can't not smile ever. And then the week of the competition go, okay, we got to smile and put our chins up higher. You have to do it all the time. Reward great faces, because they will try to get great faces after you reward them for that. So if something doesn't move, if it doesn't work when you're teaching it, don't sit down and figure it out. Skip over those measures and go back to them next week. You don't want to waste their time while you figure something out. So keep the class moving. So think about breaking down one. If it's your first time teaching, I would try to teach something to your neighbor kids or to your sisters or your friends, because you may think you know how to teach, but it's harder to break it down than you think. So I would try to teach it to someone just to see if you're able to do it. Go watch another class if you can. Watch another dance educator somewhere, because every person you watch, you will pick up something from. You know, still to this day, I do that. So be detailed when you're teaching, and every body part should be exactly the same. And I just expect excellence. I do have a video of drilling and how to be clean and drilling. And I that is in our library too. If you need that, you can email me, Cindy@justforkicks.com, and I'll try to get that out to you. But being picky is going to be the hallmark of your teaching career, because you need to be detailed in order for your classes to be excellent. So I do think you have to get a little bit competitive without getting it out of whack. There's always that fine balance. There's people that are too competitive and they get mean to the kids. And I want you to just keep that in check too. If you're getting near the show, or I'll just give you an example. I was at camp. I keep saying I was at camp, but I've been there for a month. And I had a coach at my first camp, and she was working with a team, and they had to compete that night. And she called 2 kids up front, and she was just yelling at the kids. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't the way you do it. The kids left crying, but I feel that was her ego. She knew her kids had to perform in front of everyone that night. So she was feeling like they weren't quite ready, but she took it out on the kids. So you can't do that. You have to, I always say this line, push hard early and coast into events. Don't dawdle around and then the week or 2 before the event go nuts on the kids, because that's your mistake. So push hard early and coast into the events. It's going to make you a lot better teacher. Okay, I see a lot of vet directors on here. Does anybody want to add anything that they would love to see in their head instructors? Just unmute and unpicture and share. Otherwise, that's about all I have, but I think other people probably could share things. Anybody have questions for me? Well, really, that's about all I have. I just want you to have a great year. Do these help you? Should we do these every once in a while? Like maybe once you're into teaching, pull together and talk about discipline or any issues you're having? Yes, no? Put it in the chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking your time tonight. We appreciate it so much. And I'll try to do one of these every couple months, maybe, or once a month if it will help you. Be happy to do that. Take care and have a great night.